this team today played a lot more team basketball and got contributions up and down the roster. Just what did you think of the performance today?
Yeah, look, we got 6 players in double figures. That's always a good sign for us that we're playing in the right way. I thought we were very stagnant in that first quarter. We didn't have the movement, the defensive pressure, but I think we found a way. We were right there. Obviously, just some not the best execution down the stretch where we can be better, but we competed, and I thought we played well for most of the game.
JJ or Sabrina, what did you make of just the free throw discrepancy?
You want to get fined? Don't.
I don't mean to get fined, but
what do you think? It's 33-8. What do you reckon?
it's pretty substantial difference.
Last game too.
Yeah.
Seems
like the last 2
we're not
games.
driving hard enough? I don't know. You tell me.
For this game in particular, it felt very much, especially in that fourth quarter, that I know playoff atmosphere can get overused during the playoffs or during the regular season, but today it seemed like you guys both were playing with a purpose to prove something. And you're nodding your head, JJ. So I guess what do you feel like you guys wanted to prove today?
I mean, it's just another opportunity for us to go out there and get a W. But obviously, this is a team that we played in the championship last year, and a team that has been having a good season. And so obviously, we want to go out there and play really good basketball against them. We're kind of in a mini series with them, so we understand the importance of these wins and the importance of just going out there and just getting better because the playoffs is right there.
And Sabrina, just how substantial or how the impacts that Marine and KB brought off the bench today?
Yeah, I mean, huge. We want them to come off, the bench and be aggressive, and they did just that. So obviously, keep building KB up, and really excited to kind of be able to have her back. And same with Marine, the way she came out and was really aggressive is something that we really need from our bench, and that they did tonight.
We'll go over to Zoom, starting with Jackie.
Hey, Sandy. I'm curious if you could talk a little bit more about that 12-2 run that the Lynx ended the game on. What did you see from your offense at the end that made it hard to score? And what did you see from your defense that allowed the Lynx to score in the paint?
Yeah. No, it wasn't the best. So we're going to have to learn from it there. I think we had multiple turnovers that really weren't open. We should have needed to play with a little bit more discipline there and poise and execution. We missed some layups, obviously. And then they went down there. I know, obviously, I have to go back and have a look at how Kayla McBride was so open. We were switching, so not really sure what happened off the ball there. We can't have those letdowns, and that's on me. I've got to make sure that we're locked in. We got the opportunity to get the jump ball, and that was great for us, and then they get the ball back. So, the ball didn't bounce well for us in those situations when we needed it. But 12-2, that's obviously not a great finish to the game.
And Sabrina, you all have won your game against this team. How much information did you gather from this game when it comes to what this team needs to do to beat the Lynx on Tuesday?
I mean, we know what we need to do to beat them because we've played them so many times. So I think it's, for us, just controlling the things that we know will help us win this game, and continuing to understand, we got to just continue to get better every single game, and I think we've done that. And obviously, understand we're going back home, and I think that's going to help us continuing to use that energy. It's been a long month on the road, and for us to get back home in front of our crowd, and we owe them from the last game that we played the Lynx at home, and so hopefully we can get a great crowd, kind of giving us some good energy and continuing to grow and build.
We'll go to Miles.
Jonquel, after a kind of sluggish first quarter on defense, the whole team really seemed to pick up that intensity and that physicality, and it looked like you had Minnesota on their back heel for a while at that point. What adjustments were you able to make in-game, and what can you take away from that?
Yeah, I think you just said it. We wanted to pick up our physicality. We wanted to make them feel uncomfortable, kind of just using that pressure to just help us defensively and kind of slow down their offense. And I think it's something that we have to continue to do, not just against Minnesota, but against every team that we play.
We'll go to Jeff.
Thank you. Hello, all. Sorry it didn't go your way today. My question will be for Sabrina. After Natasha Cloud's technical foul, the team ended the first half on a 15-8 run to narrow the gap to 5 points. So how did Natasha Cloud's energy start to flip the script of this game?
I mean, I'm not sure if it was the technical or not. I think it was just understanding we can't dig ourselves in a big hole against this team because they're too good. And we saw, I think, some success with, being aggressive defensively, making things a lot harder for them than we did in the first. And so I would say it was nice to see the collective group do that. And I think we were able to see how successful that was. And that needs to be kind of the standard and baseline that we play with, because we know we're really good defensively when we're aggressive.
Appreciate your time and insight. Safe travels.
We'll finish with Russell.
Hi, everybody. Sabrina, for you, it seems like pretty much everybody has said at some point that, despite the injuries, despite some of the losses, that you have enough in that locker room to win games like today. Just wondering, even despite the loss, do you feel that you showed that, given, how you fought back in the first half and just kind of continued to take everything that they threw at you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was maybe a lapse of 2 minutes there in the fourth, and we're continuing to close the gap. I think the other game, it was the whole second half, and now we've just continuing to grow and build. And I mean, it's tough to win a game with shooting 8 free throws in this league. They're too good of a defensive team, and we continue to kind of stay true to ourselves, drive, get into the paint. But there's so many factors that, play into winning or losing a game. And I'd say we just controlled the things that we could. And obviously didn't really focus on the things outside of our control, like the players that we don't have and the free throws that we didn't get.
And that was kind of the name of the game. Not the only thing, but definitely a noticeable thing in this game, the discrepancy in the foul calling. We're going to break that down, but also ways that this New York Liberty team not only can, but absolutely needs to be able to control the game if they want to make another championship run. All that and so much more coming up on today's episode of Gotta Get Up.
Gotta get up, gotta get up, gotta get up.
Hey, women's basketball fans, welcome to Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans, brought to you by Black Rosie Media and hosted by Erica L. Ayala. Hola, mi gente. Welcome to another episode of Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans. I'm sure you're feeling all kinds of feels today. We're going to get into it. A frustrating game, a frustrating stretch here for the New York Liberty. But at the same time, we got to chill, man, as a fan base, especially the team is coming back. Sabrina talked about it in that clip post-game from yesterday's loss to Minnesota. Wants to make things right from the last time the team played Minnesota at home, and they'll have that chance. And so we're going to get into that. Brian should be joining us a little bit later. Hopefully this will be a more condensed show because I got to hit the road. I'm here in Florida right now for some hockey stuff. I'm going to be one of the broadcasters for the Amerigo Latam Cup. So if you like hockey, check out Flow Hockey. It's a really fun tournament. Let's talk, though, about this New York Liberty loss. And it's tough because the New York Liberty now are racking up losses. On the one hand, they did their work early. And so although they could have maintained the number 2 spot with a win because Atlanta lost to Seattle. Thank you, Seattle. And we talked a little bit pregame on Tempestagi Talk, which is also a Black Rosie Media podcast covering the Seattle Storm. But similarly to what I said to Goptta on Tempestagi Talk before the game in Canada, what I want to see from this New York Liberty squad, regardless of who's on the court, and Sabrina hit on that, we're going to play that clip a little bit later to break it down again. This New York Liberty squad absolutely needs to make sure that they can impact the game at will. What do I mean by that? This team has to know when it is time to absolutely control the narrative. Oh, you're not getting foul calls? Too bad. Find a way. Oh, this isn't going your way. Find a way. No excuses, because that's the mentality that it takes to win a championship. And the New York Liberty did not have that in the first half. You can see on the lead tracker, it's all blue. It's all Minnesota. Things started to pick up in the second half. And, really, even right before halftime, the New York Liberty started doing things differently. You heard even Cheryl Reeve on the broadcast talk about how they were being more physical. They matched the physicality. Now, yes, you would like this team to start off as the aggressor. However, was I expecting that in this game? Absolutely not. The New York Liberty have gone on a West Coast back-to-back, so a road trip, since they played Minnesota at home. Minnesota has been, streaming stud buds and dyeing their hair pink. They've been able to rest, be at home, have practices. So it's not an excuse, it's the reality. I didn't expect New York to come out fast, quick, out the gate. Absolutely didn't expect that. I did expect them to surge in the second half, but what they didn't do effectively is play with the desperation that's needed to close out games where you don't start well and the other team takes advantage. I think you heard Jackie, if you were listening earlier before I hopped on, talk about that 12-2 run late in the game. Those are crippling. Now, yes, and I saw Damien's comment, and I want to get into this, especially when Brian hops on, but absolutely the discrepancy in the fouls and the fouls that the Liberty got called against them throughout the game and the fouls, the whistles that weren't blown against Minnesota, egregious, absolutely egregious. And there are things that you have to be able to do. To close out games, and that's the next step for this New York Liberty squad. Yes, we continue to hear them say, we have all we need, no excuses, next player up, all of that stuff. They're saying the right things, and those are absolutely the right things, and we're going to have Brian hop in here in just a minute. Those are absolutely the right things to say, and it's the right things to believe. The fact of the matter is, as I see it, is that this New York Liberty squad now has to commit to doing whatever it takes. I think they know that. I think they want to do that. But there's a difference between selling out the body 100%, no going back, and kind of talking about it. And I think there's a little bit of trepidation, understandably so. They've dealt with a lot of injuries, decimated the front court chemistry. However, you have to choose. You have to decide. And I think we saw a few players step up in that way. But then also, like we saw in the finals, if we really want to get real about it, they missed critical shots. And it's one thing to miss shots. It rims out. You don't get the lucky bounce. But blown layups. And we were talking about that in Slack. But I'm going to bring Brian on here now because I think we have to get real about this. But Brian, how you living, homie?
Hello. Can I be heard?
Yeah, I got you.
Good. Perfect. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, another loss for the New York Liberty. It seems like the sting hurts extra special because it's Minnesota. And Minnesota is kind of feeling themselves against New York, and they've absolutely earned that in the regular season anyway. But we're going to talk about last year's regular season because people might have forgot what the record was going into that finals, Brian. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But you heard me a little bit talking about, yes, the calls didn't go their way. Yes, they were fatigued and understandable. I didn't expect them to start out the gate fresh, me personally. But there are also things that the Liberty could have and should have and will need to do if they want to win games down the stretch.
Yeah. I think that the part that hurts the most when you lose a game like that is that it's right in your hands. And when we've seen this team close out strong before, and when you let it slip away in the way that it did yesterday, there are things you can account for, and it's understandable. But at the same time, once you're in it, all that goes out the window. We're up by like 6 with 7 minutes to go. We can close that out. Like we've done it before. And in a game like that you battled all the way back from when it looked like they were dead in the water in the first quarter, like the fight to get back in the lead and get ahead is something that's admirable. But then when you get to that point, the expectations sort of evolve in real time. It's not, oh, let's make it reasonable and be close. It's, oh, let's go close this game out and let's bring it all the way home. Like that's
Right.
the expectation of a champion and a team that we give this team high standards because they've shown that they can meet those high standards. So that's their baseline. And I think it's reasonable to be like, okay, you guys are up 6. Can you close it out strong? Even though you're a little bit dead legged, you're a little bit tired. It's understandable. Like, okay, can you bring it in? And I think that's fair to ask of them. And I feel for the group, it's a situation where those, like, I wrote about it in the recap since I was covering for Lucas yesterday. Like the small mistakes add up over time, and then eventually the loss comes. Like missing 3 layups, like layups that they make in their sleep. Like MJ beat, I think it was Carlton on a drive to the rim. Layup that she can make 99 times out of 100. Leo gets the rebound, easy bang shot that she makes 99 times out of 100. And the end of the game, where Tosh beats Court on the drive, I think she was expecting contact. There might have been like some, but not enough to really deter a great finisher at the rim who makes it 99 times out of 100. But in each time, it was that one, and that one adds up to 6 points that are left on the board. And then what do you get? A 6-point loss.
Right, exactly. And it's something that we were talking about in real time in our Slack community. But I want to stay on Tosh and that missed layup, the blown bunny, because like you said, and they even mentioned it on the broadcast, Natasha Cloud may have been expecting contact. Here's the thing for me. Yes, sometimes you expect contact and, you have to take care of your body, know yourself. I also think you need to know the situation. In a game like that, the way you broke it down, Brian, at that point in the game, you gotta be okay with knowing you might go into the third row.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
You just gotta be okay with that because you have to make that shot. Or if you don't, you have to know 100% that you're gonna get fouled. And the only way to do that is to go attack the basket like nobody is there. And if they hit you, they hit you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, that to me was the part that was missing at times.
Yeah, like I'm with you. And I'm thinking back to, in the context of the whistle of the game, of the 33 free throw disparity, it's one of those things, almost like in baseball, where you know that, okay, if I'm a pitcher, I'm not getting the right outside corner. So what do I have to do? I have to work inside a little bit more. I have to change up what I'm doing in real time because I know I'm not getting that whistle. The Liberty weren't getting a whistle, and it's whatever at this point. But I think for players, it's a situation, especially down the stretch, you got to know that, okay, I'm not getting that call. I just got to like go in as hard as I can to see if I can make it either impossible for them not to call a foul or just finish like I normally do. And I think a lot with players is that sometimes they may think that they're going to get a whistle, and then when they don't, it's a whole surprise. Like a great example of it recently was the Phoenix Golden State game from maybe a month or so ago. It's tied down the stretch, and then Tip gets like a little bit of a push off, and she's expecting a call, and it doesn't come. And then DB gets 2 free throws on the other end, and as you took yourself out of a play because you're trying to accentuate contact, you don't get it. Your team is at a disadvantage, and then you lose, and it's it might have been a foul, but they're not calling that. Like referees at that point in the game are just like, we don't exist anymore. Let you guys handle it yourselves, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. And that's the frustrating part. But again, you have to know the situation. If you and I know this, then we know the players know this. And it's just a matter of deciding to do it. I will say, Brianna Stewart, I think we talked about Jonquel Jones being out. I think we're starting to see what Stewie means to this team because it's been fluctuating. The performance is just there, but it's not quite good enough. It's not quite, the level, as you said, of Liberty basketball that we expect and that the team knows is expected of them. They've fallen a little short here. Is it, I mean, you can go back and forth on whether this team is quote unquote in trouble or not. They definitely need to improve. And again, I said this earlier, but they've done the work to be in the spot for 2. Now they have to decide if they want to do the work. And if you say you want a championship, then I guess you've already decided, right? But Brian, you have to realize that put aside the injuries, put aside the whistles. this time of the season, it takes a different level to be successful. You've got LA playing better. You've got Atlanta right on your heels to the point where the Liberty could have, increased their very nominal cushion by way of Seattle getting a win over Atlanta. And y'all, this is the thing. This is what I want to talk about, Brian. That team, teams want to be like, oh, we're focused on ourselves, baka baka ba. Do you mean to tell me nobody on that roster knew that Seattle beat Atlanta? Come on. Somebody was watching the standings. If it wasn't Sabrina and all of them, somebody somewhere was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's go get this. Let's go get this. So that's one thing. Like, you got to know that this is just a different time of the year. And yeah, you want to be like, oh, well, we don't look at that and baka baka ba. Listen, again, let's not be daft. Like, y'all know what's going down. And that in and of itself should be enough to motivate this team to do the hard work. Because other people are doing the hard work. So y'all got to do the hard work. They did a lot of work early, and that's why they have this cushion. But now it's time to buckle down, Brian. They got to do the hard work.
Yeah, like 2 through honestly 5 is like right within like two games of each other, and one wonky stretch down the end of the season could have you starting your entire playoff journey on the road, and it's 1-1-1, so it's manageable to a degree, but still you don't want to start on the road in a Phoenix or a Las Vegas or wherever. You don't want to do that if you can avoid it. And for this team here, the week ahead should be promising. They have Minnesota on Tuesday night. They have a practice day in between, so that should help them out. Then I think they have Chicago Thursday, and then a showcase game against Atlanta on Saturday afternoon in Atlanta. So it's a big week for the group, and I think for them, if they really establish themselves the right way and do their job properly, it'll really sort of set them up for September leading into the postseason starting the 14th.
I'm not sure what this comment means, Damien. Can you reframe it? But
yeah,
to say this team is not, I don't know if this is what you're saying, but it's something that we heard yesterday, Brian, in Slack, right? To say this team is putting out no effort, I'm not with it.
Yeah, I think the only time we can honestly say that the effort was just like not there was that first half in Dallas, and Cindy was like, "Yo, we didn't do anything right," and that's where that's the only time I can say in the past 3 years they've had a game where I'm like, you just didn't come prepared to work today. Otherwise, they've been on it. Like that's, and I think that's a testament to the players in that, okay, we had a really awful half and then we got it back together. They put forth inspired efforts ever since. And I think sometimes with this team, I think lack of execution is sometimes equated to lack of effort. And I'm like, no, not quite. Because even in the first quarter yesterday, they didn't make a shot outside of 10 feet, but they were getting open looks. Like even in the in-between interview that Tosh did with Tiffany Blackman of CBS, she was like, our process on offense is fine. We're just not making open shots. The transition defense is where we're struggling at. And I think for the group, they were getting like clean looks and quality looks. Like they just couldn't make a jumper for like the first 15 minutes of the game. And then once they finally got that unspooled, you started to see what the vision would look like without Brianna Stewart. Like you saw those drives to the rim, you saw good passing, you saw spot up shooting, you saw that execution that's there. And I think that's the part where they have to bottle that up and be like, okay, this is what we can do without the former MVP on the roster. How can we sort of build on that? Because we know she's coming back soon, but we don't want her to come back in a situation where it's, oh, hey, Brianna, our pick and roll defense is terrible. Come fix it. Oh, 2 players are rotating to a diving Alana Smith in a 1-point game with 20 seconds to go, leaving Kayla McBride wide open from admittedly 49 feet, but 2
wide open.
Yeah, a 2 doesn't hurt you there. Who cares? It's a 3-point game. The 3 is the one that turns that building all the way
killer.
Up, and it did. Yep.
That was a killer.
So it's like, what can we do to clean stuff up like that? And I think that's where having practice tomorrow is going to help this group out a lot. I'll see if I can make
Right.
it over and sort of like get a feel for how they're doing now that they're back in their houses for a few days, which I'm sure they greatly appreciate. But now it's a matter of, since you have these precious practice days, it's okay, how can we clean up our pick and roll coverages? How can we sort of stay up to touch on screens? How are we making sure that we're maintaining body contact when McBride is curling all over the court? There are things that they can get better. Bless you. There are things they can get better at, and there's stuff that I think even accounting for injuries, there's things that they can do better. Like I feel like that's the and to Hayes' point, it can't just be, oh hey, Brianna, save us, because that was the unofficial model of 2023. And then when she ran out of gas in the finals, it's okay, we can't get John Cole Jones the ball. Stewie's jumper isn't there. We're not getting to the rim, and then we lose. So they've done better at implementing various things and sort of like incorporating a lot of stuff into what they do. Like we saw Emma in Vegas really sort of like carry the offense down the stretch. So it's okay, what's the execution here? What's the how do we when plan A isn't working, how are we getting from this to the second side, third side? How are we doing these things? And there's still like stuff that they can do better at. Like I think I put it in the Slack yesterday. Like they had Courtney Williams and Leo, and last year in the finals they tried that, and what happened? Leo got the ball in the post, and Leo got to work. We didn't really see that as much yesterday, and it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, Leo's good at it. Like I know she's running on fumes, and she's someone that could definitely that needs a day off in the worst way. You can't right now because you're shorthanded in the front court, but she's there and she's running around all over the court. Utilize her a little bit more. There are things that they can do in the interim, and I feel that I think from both of our experiences with the team, they are very self-reflective. I think like they're open to admitting where they screw up, where they make their mistakes, and how they can get better at it. So I think they've had the past 2-3 weeks to be like, okay, we're not on the right path. How can we get it together? The effort is there, the energy is there, of course, but now is can we focus in and really put as close to a perfect 40 minutes together as possible? If they can do that, they'll be able to sort of like hold off Atlanta and Phoenix, maybe Vegas. I have thoughts about that, but I'll save that for another day. But like,
I mean, listen, before this season started, I said Vegas, New York in the finals. I did. Go look at CBSSports.com. Now, Vegas made me look a little foolish for the majority of the season. But you know me, I'm going to stand 10 toes down on what I said. Wrong or not, I said what I said. I mean, and I'm going to use this to talk about the Liberty. And then I gotta come to some of these comments, Brian, because y'all be tripping. But anyway, look how long it took Vegas to get the smack in the face, that they needed to wake up. And they're a great team. Well, they have great players.
they got the great one.
The A1, if you will. And you see that leadership has been tough love all season. And it's taken them a while. What Vegas went through early in the season is not what I'm seeing from the New York Liberty, Brian. What Seattle is going through right now is not exactly the same as what I'm seeing the New York Liberty go through. There are overlaps. And that's where it's a precarious place and time for the New York Liberty. But when they say they have everything they need, and this is, I want to get to some of what Damien typed here. To say that they're not confident that they can get a win again, I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's coming. Who said that? Who said that, Damien? Drop the link. Who said that the New York Liberty? Who from the New York Liberty said they're not confident that they can beat Minnesota? Who said that? Who said that? I just want to know. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I keep a pretty good finger on the pulse. I ain't heard nobody's. Have you heard anyone say that, Brian?
Not to my knowledge.
Absolutely not. Courtney Williams is talking smack. Good for her. Go ahead. Go on. Go off, sis. Go off. How many championships you got? Oh, okay. Okay. Talk your mess. You got 3 wins in the regular season. But you know what, Brian? If we include the Commissioner's Cup, wasn't it also 3 wins Minnesota last year?
Yes, 3 wins, and including one where they embarrassed the Liberty on America's leading network. And we were on the pod the next day. Was like, yo, what is wrong with this team? So, and also they got 500K, which I know that considering how much fun Minnesota likes to have, I imagine that was 500K well spent in the greater parts of the United States.
I mean, okay. Like, you know what? There's, I don't actually know what her title is. She writes books, does podcasts. There's this woman called Mel Robbins, and especially the less melanated folks love to be like, oh, she has this theory, and it's called Let Them. People want to talk about you, let them. People want to be mad, let them. You know what? We're in the Mel Robbins era. Minnesota wants to talk, they mess, let them. We got other things to worry about. We got to get Emma Miesemann more practices. Maureen Johannes she will not be a candidate for most improved player, but she absolutely is top of my list when it comes to the New York Liberty. And that doesn't mean she does make mistakes defensively. But the thing is, Brian, she's making an effort. She's not afraid to look foolish. She's not afraid to get crossed up, because the other side of that is that she's blocking shots. She's trapping. She's anticipating. She's getting steals. That doesn't mean she always makes the right choice or she's always in the right place. And Maureen does kind of have what I can only characterize by watching as sometimes mental lapses. I think we know this about MJ.
Yeah.
And we still love her because Maureen Johannes, if I'm not mistaken, was the first player for New York last night to, if not, I don't know if it was exactly a 3-pointer, but to drop from distance, MJ was starting to close that gap.
Yeah, like I looked at the shot charts last night because the league website is wonky, and I saw that Johannes was the first player to make a shot from 10 feet and further.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, like you need, because Maureen's like a mad scientist, so it's like sometimes you're like,
that's perfect. That's perfect.
There was like that one play where she thought Emma was rolling to the basket and Emma popped out, and then I'm like, only Maureen Johannes could try that, and I'm like, okay, I kind of see what you're seeing / not seeing, and so I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, throw that out there. It's cool. Don't worry about it.
You know, you don't want to see it in a game as close as that, but again, doesn't have a lot of practice time with Emma. That's how MJ plays. You know, sometimes, like, that's what I'm saying. This team has greatness. Do you want to see them lose to Minnesota? Absolutely not. Do you want to see them lose, to some of the teams that they've lost to down the stretch? Absolutely not. Do you want to see them lose in the way they lost last night? Of course, or yesterday afternoon? No. And would you rather see it now or see it in a month?
Yes, because any loss past September 14th is going to be panic in the disco.
Exactly. You want to panic? Save your anxiety for later. Chill out now, but save the anxiety for later. Al Page gets it. New York has all the confidence. Even Minnesota knows this. That's like, and again, Mel Robbins. Let them. Let them. But then we get to the Erica L. Ayala. We're about to play them on Tuesday. If you let them, if you Mel Robbins Minnesota for the last 3 games, now it's time to see. I'm like knocking over my camera. Now it's time to let them know. Don't let them anymore. Now it's time to transition into let them know. Because I'm petty. I told y'all this. If y'all listen to the show at any point in time, then you know I'm a petty mofo. I'm going to come get my lick back. And that's what New York has to do. Oh, let them. Oh, they don't have Stewie. Well, we don't have Fee. Let them. Oh, y'all got Emma Miesemann. We got Carrington. Let them. They're coming to Brooklyn on Tuesday. Let them know. And I want to talk about something because it's going to go into, now, Tulip, you messy for this. Tulip. The Liberty calling out officials, ironic, LOL. Everyone else knows New York got the refs in their back pockets, allegedly. Oh, okay. Okay, if this is true, riddle me this. How you get 8 free throws to 33 on the other side, but allegedly you got the refs in your back. Allegedly. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? You know, the commissioner is enamored with the New York Liberty, but she dropped them a back-to-back in the middle of Rivals Week. Like, what are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about? What are y'all talking about?
Kathy really is wild for that, man. I'll tell you what. Is she a wild gal?
Al Page said, me too, Erica. I'm a Leo. I'm petty. Hey, Leo and Taurus, don't mess with us. Come with all the fire like Ayala. Bow, 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 bow. We don't play. The refs can't make it obvious. Have to balance the scales once in a while. Oh, okay. Okay, cute. Cool, tight. But you know what? This fits into another narrative. Not necessarily narrative. Observation, borderline conspiracy theory, but also really rooted in fact that I've been saying. Minnesota has only ever won a championship in an odd year, Brian.
Uh-oh. That is correct.
Only ever won in an odd year because they were going back and forth with, their true OG rivals, the Sparks. So if you want to keep that streak alive, then there you go. Then, Tulip and this balance, it's bull crap. But the referees absolutely impacted yesterday's game. Albert, we agree. That being said, yes, as Albert says, the Liberty players are allowing Minnesota too much space on offense. Brian, you talked about that when it came to Kayla McBride, wide the F open. I don't understand. Lacking aggression, again, we kind of talked about that. I didn't expect this team to be super sharp coming off of the road trip that they were on. Continually backing off. I think there are lapses for sure. I think it's more fatigue. And again, some of the mental lapses from a player like Maureen Johannes, who is better defensively than she was last year. Definitely than this is the best defensive effort, I think, in her Liberty career, aka her WNBA career. But she has lapses. So again, y'all let them. Y'all Mel Robbins, let them. Now it's time to let them know. And this is what I want to see, Brian. Now, in baseball, there's some unspoken rules. They're trying to officiate it out of the game now. The New York Metropolitans know that all too well in the World Series. Don't even get me started. Noah Syndergaard, y'all played him to his MFing face. That was some bull crap, and I will never forget. But that's okay. I'm going to move on. For now. This is what I want to see, Brian. There is a way that you can play a little gamesmanship and force the hands of the officials. Especially after, now Sandy Brondello, she's not often going to go off like Cheryl Reeve. She's not going to literally or metaphorically throw her blazer and have a hissy fit like someone else, aka Cheryl Reeve. Now, you want to talk about, Cheryl Reeve getting all these whistles, well, because she put everyone on blast, tried to make it like the New York Liberty didn't earn this championship. How disgraceful. Now, I let it go because she was mad, stay mad, sis. But the fact that if this is playing into this year, miss me with all that. But again, we're not going to let them. We're going to let them know. But before we do that, I want to set up this conversation, Brian, that we're about to have on officiating I played some of the clips earlier if you hopped on earlier, but I want you to hear what the Liberty said or didn't say about officiating. Here's them from Postgame yesterday.
Sabrina, what did you make of just the free throw discrepancy?
Those eyes.
You want to get forward?
With the curse word under her breath.
I don't mean to get fined, but
What do you think? It's 33-8. What do you reckon?
it's pretty substantial difference.
Last game too.
Yeah.
We're,
Seems like the last two
we not
games.
driving hard enough? I don't know. You tell me.
It seems like pretty much everybody has said at some point that, despite the injuries, despite some of the losses, that you have enough in that locker room to win games like today. Just wondering, even despite the loss, do you feel that you showed that, given how you fought back in the first half and just kind of continued to take everything that they threw at you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was maybe a lapse of like 2 minutes there in the fourth, and we're continuing to close the gap. I think the other game, it was the whole second half, and now we've just continuing to grow and build. And I mean, it's tough to win a game with shooting 8 free throws in this league. Like, they're too good of a defensive team, and we continue to kind of stay true to ourselves, drive, get into the paint. But there's so many factors that, play into winning or losing a game. And I'd say we just controlled the things that we could, and obviously didn't really focus on the things outside of our control, like the players that we don't have and the free throws that we didn't get.
I mean, yeah, you can tell Sab didn't want to answer the first question, but she got to it eventually. You can't win games. It's difficult to win games when you only get to the line 8 times. Okay, the reporting on confidence is coming from Damien and Damien only. So there you go. That's an opinion. That's not reporting then, Damien. Those are your thoughts. Just talk to Kolb. Oh, it's interesting that you say that, because I have talked to Jonathan Kolb. You can read my article on CBSSports.com. And when I said, now that you brought in Miesemann, there is pressure. Is it championship or bust? And he said, we welcome that pressure. We know that we've earned that pressure, and we want to play well for the fans. That is not the direct quote, but again, you can read the direct quote on CBSSports.com. Jonathan Kolb doesn't believe his team has a confidence issue. Jonathan Kolb made the changes, including bringing in Stephanie Talbot, that he wanted to make this team be a contender. So again, those are your thoughts, Damien. You're welcome to them. However, when we're reporting things, I think especially, and I'll just tell you, this is my integrity standard. I don't talk about athletes' confidence unless they talk about their confidence. Because if it were me, I'll curse some mofo out if they try to tell me that I'm not confident. Oh, I'm not confident? Okay. You come out here and try and do what I'm gonna do and see how good you look 365, 24/7. I don't play with that. Like, I just don't think there's any, unless you talk to a player about their mentality, I think it's difficult to then be able to assess their mentality. Now, you can allude to it, but I just for me, I don't talk about players lacking confidence unless they tell me that they were in a period where they were lacking confidence. But also, that's not what the Liberty are telling us, that they're lacking confidence. Execution, yes, 100%. They're tired and still giving 100% of what they have. But their 100% isn't 100%. They're giving 100% of 80, 85% at best right now, Brian, because of the injuries, because of their road trips, because of the players that are putting up significant minutes that haven't had to in a while. And that is something else that we heard from Sabrina in the last game leading up to Minnesota yesterday. She talked about what they know is happening now, despite how it feels, despite what the results are, is that players who they're going to need to make a deep run into the playoffs are getting significant game minutes right now. Maureen Johannes didn't get this many minutes in the run-up in 23. Rebecca Gardner hasn't gotten this many minutes in a substantial amount of time, and we have seen her minutes fluctuate a little bit. As you said, Leo is dog-tired, and it's noticeable. We do need Leo to step up, but right now Sandy is hedging her bets and putting Leo out there because of what we're lacking. And so with Kennedy Burke, I've been on the fence. Y'all have probably noticed. I'm like, oh, let's see. I don't know if I completely, I'm an eye test gal. Kennedy Burke was significant in yesterday's game. Significant. And that is huge. You get the loss, but you have Kennedy Burke playing confidently, throwing that body around with no regard for who's in the lane. That's what I'm talking about when I say let them know. So Brian, on Tuesday, what I want to see, and this is something that maybe comes from, I used to be a baseball player, I want someone to foul somebody on Minnesota hard AF in the first 3 minutes of the game. Why do you do this? Send a message, you're not going to get punked. That's number one. Number two, let them know. And in this way, let them feel it. And number three, you're sending a signal to the officials. Now, make sure you don't hit them in the head or anything that can be a flagrant or outright ejection. But in basketball, unlike baseball, at least for now, you can get away with a hard foul early. But you also are putting everybody on notice. We came to play. So y'all better figure out what the whistle's going to be. Make them figure out early how they're going to officiate the game. Drive hard, foul hard, period. Period. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I think, I think when it comes to physicality, like I love the make them feel you point, because that's the thing that great teams always do. Like, you don't want to have easy lanes to the basket. You don't want to have unobstructed post areas. Like, you really want them to you really want to sort of be in their junk all game. Like, they did that a lot. And very successfully with Courtney Williams last year. Like, Leia would pick her up full court. They were able to do that and just disrupt enough, make them feel your presence every possession. And they were really able to gum things up from there accordingly. I think that point is so crucial, because especially you never want to get swept by a rival 4-0 in the season series, because it gives them another dose of confidence and leaves you questioning yourself just enough that even though you're confident, that creeping doubting voice might pop in at the worst time. So you really want to just like get that win in your home court, really establish that success back as you prepare for the road ahead, as you prep for the postseason. And I think for the group, I really want to sort of see, now that Kennedy's back, he might be back Tuesday if I'm not mistaken, but we have to see what they tell us at practice tomorrow. Like, you really want to like out physical this team, because that's how they won last year. Everyone's like, oh, blah blah blah, referees. First, go watch game 4. Like, you want to see bad officiating, like, deal with that then. And then in game 5, it was, oh hey, we're not calling anything. You know what? We're gonna play tough. You guys are tough. We're tough too. We'll see who the better team is on this night. And that's the thing against like a great team. Like, you have to play them physically. Like, I saw the quote this morning from Courtney where she's like, I don't like them, they don't like us. I love them as people, and then we're like, when it's not basketball time, we're all friends and it's cool. But on the court, I'm gonna whoop their tail, and that's the energy that that gives the best basketball for us as viewers and as players, because it's like, yeah, man, like this is elite basketball. It's Minnesota. New York is under them right now because in the standings, and since they've lost the season series to them. But it's, hey, man, these are elite teams bumping, going head to head. Like, it's going to be tough. It's going to be physical. I might cuss you out a little bit, but I want to show that I'm the best player on the court tonight. I think that energy and the home crowd is always turned up.
That's it.
And the fact that every time they hear the words Cheryl Reeve, is boo! Like, that's the energy and the atmosphere that's going to be waiting on Tuesday, and with the fan base that's excited to see their team for the first time in person for a while, and at a time slot where you're not fighting the midnight dragon to stay awake. Like, it's going to be energetic, it's going to be good, and the players feed off of that. So I think it's going to make for a great atmosphere Tuesday night.
100%. Tulip, I don't think anyone, including us, thinks that people are pitying the New York Liberty.
Yeah.
Like, who's pitying? Nobody's talking about pity. Ain't nobody talking about pity. This Liberty are stacked and should be playing better. The Liberty are injured. I mean, it just is what it is. The Liberty are injured. They will play better, and they have played better, which is why they're still in the top 3. Like, it's wild. Like, I think it's fascinating that this team is having difficulty stringing wins together, and they're still a top 3 team. That means they put in the work. So how can they lack confidence when they know that they did the work, even when they're not playing their best and they're not healthy, to still be a top 3 team?
Like, I will say, for as much doom and gloom as the Liberty have felt in the fan base for the past few weeks, I would say just about every other team in the league would happily take their spot right now. Oh, that's gonna be dope. I hope you have a great time.
You're going to a good one. That's
yeah.
Safe travels.
Yeah, so I think that just about every team in the league, this is very first world problems in a sense where it's like, oh man, you guys are struggling right now. Where are you in the standings? Oh,
Yeah,
third
exactly.
place.
Third place. Also, I'm wearing a clippable mic today, so that might be why. So I'll try to hold it instead of buen dia. Good to see you, JC. So I'll try holding it. Also, I was getting it animated, so you probably heard my shirt ruffle. But I'll try holding it, see if that's better. Thank you. Yeah, it's gonna be electric, and oh, sounds the same. All right. Well, I don't know. This is what we got to work with today. So, yeah, I think this is a team that has what they need. It's obviously you don't want to see Brianna Stewart out, and they can play well enough to win games without Stewie. They'll play even better when Stewart is back. Those are facts. I feel like I've been saying this all season about one team or another. Oh, how will the Sparks look when Cameron Brink is back? How will the Indiana Fever look when Caitlin Clark is back? And on and on and on. How will the Aces look when Asia Wilson comes out of concussion protocol? Listen, everyone's dealing with it. So it's not about pity. It's not about excuses. And I don't know. That's not true. I know exactly who it is. Whomever, you can go look it up, said that Stewie was over the hill. Where you at now, homie? Where you at now? Because this team, in theory, could be playing well enough to win games, Brian. But the execution at the close of games, the decision making at the close of games is different when Stewie's off the court.
Yeah. I think that, especially we see her absence felt on the defensive end because usually like you won't have as many breakdowns as we've seen. And it's like I think the most frustrating part for the players is probably that they're like small breakdowns, but against Minnesota, those small breakdowns are huge because they punish any mistake imaginable. Like there was from the game at Barclays last Sunday, Sab and Leo, bless you, decide to trap in the half court. The Lynx easily break that trap, and then they get 3 points out of it, wide open. I think it might have been for Carlton, who was wide open for three in that point. So those moments where you have those mistakes, and as Sabrina said, those 2 minutes in the fourth quarter where they sort of like lost their focus a little bit, like that's just enough. Like those small moments add up right there, and then you can't afford it. The thing about great teams is that it requires a full 40 and it requires like a deep focus to the entire way through. Even just going back to last year's finals, game 4, like I was in press row there and I thought, okay, when they went on a run, I was saying to myself, okay, this is the championship sealer. This is the run. This is going to close it out. But they let them back in just enough. And then Minnesota did just enough to escape at the buzzer. So this team has seen what happens when you let go of the rope a little bit against Minnesota, and I feel that with Tosh here, with Emma here, they give a fresh energy to ensure that hey, we're having this lull in the game. We need to snap out of it. We need to sort of like get back on the right track and get to where we need to be. And I think that's going to be crucial. And because even yesterday, like Tosh willed them back in that game just by. Just through sheer sort of like force of personality, just like consistently getting downhill, getting to the rim, really amping up the pressure, amping up the intensity, and everyone else was like, okay, she's there, I'm gonna get there too, and then they were right back in the game just like that. So I think they need that full 40, and they need to really make sure that those lulls and sort of like lapses are as minimized as humanly possible. Because if you sort of like fall off for like 2-3 minutes, Minnesota's hitting you with like a 10-2 run, and then it's oh my god, we are nowheresville and we're stuck trying to get out.
100%. Again, Tulip, we just said all of this. We just said all of that. However, you know what the difference is? I'm just gonna flat out say it. Cameron Brink, not Brianna Stewart. Caitlin Clark, not Brianna Stewart. Jonquel Jones is a great player on the court. Her leadership is still evolving. Even though she's a more veteran presence, she's still learning leadership in a real way. alongside Sabrina Ionescu because they're playing with Brianna Stewart. So, I mean, yeah, everyone's got injuries. That's what I was just talking about. I've been talking about injuries all season as a national reporter. And my point is that Brianna Stewart being injured for a New York Liberty squad, it changes the complexity of what they can do on leadership, as Brian just said, what they can do defensively. Rim protecting has been the bread and butter of this New York Liberty squad when they are able to be a top 2 team. But we're seeing now that part of that is because Stewie has great defensive instincts. She is like a ninja. She can come out of nowhere. And Jonquel Jones has that capability, but it's not the same range. It's just not. And so if J-Day doesn't see or isn't able to get to that block, and there's no Stewie or Niara, who has very good instincts as well, not the same, but both of them missing at the same time, I think you're seeing points in the paint and rim protection is very different. The look is very different.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm talking about Marine Johannes, because she's just an example. Leo has to do this. Tosh has to do this. Sab has to do this. They have to know that the rim protection that they're used to relying on is different right now. And so I'm not expecting those 3 players I just named to get blocks, but they have to clog the paint. They have to at least make it hard. I mean, some of these lanes were wide open, the whole night.
Yeah.
For Minnesota. Nobody picked up ball. That's a problem. It's a problem that they're not used to having to fix, but they have to realize and know the personnel. And if JJ gets held up, literally held or otherwise, the guards on the weak side have to come and help. So, like, again, you talking excuses, I'm talking strategy. When you don't have Stewie, when you don't have Niara Sabali, your strategy has to change. And you have to identify that. And unfortunately, the Liberty not identifying that before their opponents are identifying it has been part of the problem.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and like, even
I don't even know what this is about, because all of us have been saying Fee is the MVP. Okay, but Fee is one front court player. I'm pretty sure, is Jessica Shepard still playing? Is Land still playing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Minnesota's missing one amazing player. The New York Liberty are missing one amazing player, and all of their backcourt has been hurt at one time or another. That's size, baby.
Yeah.
That's what this team has been built to do.
Yeah, because like, even as far as like the roster construction, like Minnesota's bigger than what they were last year. Like we talked about it a while back, and even during the finals, that New York essentially played Hines Allen off the court in like 2.5 games, and then Land was not at full strength. Like Sandy was joking yesterday that, oh, she's Aussie, she'll be fine. Like even bleeding, oh, she'll be fine, she'll get up. So it's like Land wasn't at full strength, but she played through it. Land appears to be at full capacity and is making a very strong case for Defensive Player of the Year. So scoring against her is going to be really challenging, and we sort of see the connectivity that the Lynx have, even as they incorporate Carrington in, and she sort of like plugs into what they're doing. There's still that base sort of like knowledge of everyone knowing where they need to go. For New York, it's a little bit different. The talent level is different on this side, but the actual time to actually prep and incorporate everyone into their spots is still coming together.
Right.
Like I think that's why the practice point that we were talking about earlier is so crucial, is because hey, you need time to like actually incorporate all this stuff in and really sort of like figure stuff out. I feel like if Stewie were here, it would be easier because, oh, hey, you guys all supercomputers. Here's a supercomputer. We put it together. But now it's okay. We're incorporating a new piece, a feature piece like a Misaman as compared to a good role player, but role player nonetheless in Carrington. It's a different sort of like incorporation because now without Stewie incorporating Emma in, your pick and roll coverages change, your matchups change. Who's like Leo is instead of guarding Courtney Williams the whole time, she's guarding McBride. She's doing all the sort of like combinations and toggling of matchups changes, and you're doing that while incorporating Misaman into the flow of things, while doing it without Stewart, not having Burke for a while, no Harrison now, no Sabali for an undetermined amount of time. So it's a lot more juggling on this side. I think, to this point a little bit, it's like, yeah, it's a first world problem, but it's still a problem. It's not the world is ending. It's okay, we gotta it's like taking your car to get it fixed. It's like, okay, I gotta tweak this. I gotta go really under the hood and sort of like iron some stuff out and make sure that things are okay. So I think that's where the problem comes in. And a lot of it is like they're learning and failing on the fly, which is okay because you want to see what it looks like, because you're not gonna have time. You're not gonna have like a full day to practice, get treatment, things like that. It's okay. Game, travel as soon as the game is over, get some sleep the day before, next night, game. So you're doing everything in real time. Like you're sort of like having all that physicality and that sort of like actual like foot on the ground experience with it in real time. So it's challenging in that regard. There's still expectations of this group, and I think we're consistent in that. Like even within the learning, it's okay, I want y'all to be better. And I think that's fair, and it's a fair ask. But I think at the same time, it's okay, we're trying to figure it out too. So you got to give us a little bit of room while we do it, while still understanding that, hey, we set the standard this high, and you guys expect it from us, and we expect it of ourselves. So it's still okay in that regard.
Yeah, exactly. This is definitely a feel it out period. This is like a beautiful casserole that maybe you left on the counter, and it's not hot, but it's also not quite the room temperature that you want to enjoy the meal. So they got to nuke it again. That's what bringing Emma Misaman into this system with a hurt Stewie and Niara Sabali, because I don't want to forget, Niara Sabali huge. Leo, trying to find her stride is also another thing that's huge. As far as the Liberty being the number one seed, again, go to CBSSports.com. My previews, I didn't pick Liberty to have the number one seed. I've been saying that since before the season started. I was like, we ain't getting it. I thought it was going to be because Leo and potentially a few other players were going to be away, and I just didn't think. I thought there would be slippage in June. I did not know that slippage was going to be because of Jonquel Jones' injury, and that then they would have to deal with that again with Stewie's injury, Niara's injury, KB's injury. I didn't anticipate all of that, but I didn't expect this team to be the number one seed. And so that's what Al is saying. Don't need the number one seed. You're going to have to win on the road, period. Just because you're the number one seed doesn't mean all your games are at home. You get the majority of the games. But if you lose a home game and then you lose on the road, it don't matter if you're the number one seed, because the road team did what they needed to do. This JC, and then we're gonna start wrapping up because I gotta get going to some hockey stuff. But the psychological effect is interesting, and I think it happens more internal, and by that I mean in the locker room, during film, when the team is outside of the public eye. But there's also gamesmanship. So sportsmanship is when you're competing, in a civil manner against people. Gamesmanship is when you're playing the game within the game within the game. And Sandy Brondello doesn't play the gamesmanship card of calling out the referees. It's not her go-to. It's not a part of her playbook. And if she does it, that she is really upset. To the point where she had to go there in game 4 because she felt if she didn't do that, if she didn't call it out publicly, then it would be on her, because she knows, or at least has a high inkling, that things that are litigated about officiating publicly impact the next game. And I hate that. I hate that because that's not who Sandy is. and she's awkward when she does it. It's not something that's going to go viral when Sandy talks about officials, because she doesn't like doing it. It's not what she's good at, but it is a part of the role of a head coach. Cheryl Reeve knows that. Cheryl Reeve stirs up a lot of shit. Let's just keep it a buck. That's why people love talking about her and love to hate her. But she does the gamesmanship part very well. And it's not a stat, but it's real. Like, it's real. So I hear what you're saying, like, is it psychological? And there is an aspect and an element of it that is, which is why I'm like, stop with the let them and get to the let them know. Don't allow the officials to litigate the game. Force them to decide if they're going to let shit go early or if they're going to blow the whistle. And you want to talk about gamesmanship, that's what Diana Taurasi understood very well. Now, she's the most extreme case I've ever seen, but if you need an example of someone forcing the officials, even to the point where it might mean she gets a technical foul, Diana Taurasi was queen of that. I've never seen someone do it better. And the Liberty need to take a page out of DT's book when they play Minnesota on Tuesday and for the rest of the season. Do not get punked. The last game I was at in New York, that's exactly what Tosh said.
Uh-huh.
She said, I'm excited to see how we bounce back. And I think that was some of the frustration, honestly, also from Tosh, because she was extremely animated. That's what she gives. That's the sandpaper that I want to see from this squad. But not everyone gives that all the time. And so Tosh took up the mantle when it came to that in Minnesota. And Tosh might have to do it again, but she can't be the only one. Leo was getting no calls. None whatsoever. The fact that there was at half court, dead in the center of the court, a foul on Sabrina Ionescu after the jump ball, and nobody called that, that's insane to me. That's insane. Like, but don't let them. You gotta let them know. All right, Brian, we gotta wrap up today. We're gonna have another episode coming up soon. As Country Notary said, yes, hit that like button, subscribe, hit us up in the comments. We want to continue to grow this. It is, this is down to the wire, and this is going to be an important stretch for New York starting on Tuesday. As you said, the schedule, lightens up a little bit, but again, it's not about who they're playing. It's about how the Liberty are playing. That's more of the issue. But on Tuesday, it's definitely both. It's a 50-50 who they're playing and how they're playing. And I want to see them get a win. I said this about Seattle and it worked, so I'm going to say it here. The only game plan I want for the New York Liberty is to beat Minnesota at all costs. That's the game plan. Keep it simple. Keep it super simple. And for me, if you have to break that down, points in the paint. Win points in the paint. Win defensive rebounds. I said it in Slack. 10 rebounds for Sabrina Ionescu. Huge. And a part of the reason she's able to get 10 rebounds is because her teammates are locking up the body next to them. Box out. Box out. Give Sab 10 easy boards. Give it to her. Let MJ get another 6 because you're locking down the player next to you. And you have to get to the line. Make the officials call the game early. Let them decide how they call the game early. Again, Minnesota's beaten us 3 times in the regular season plus Commissioner's Cup before. I'm not worried. Even if they drop the game, I don't love it. But again, that's not what we're going for. Find a way to win at all costs. Brian, before we get out of here, your last thoughts. The New York Liberty win on Tuesday against Minnesota
they win if they win the points in the paint battle and keep their turnovers under 15. If they do both, they'll be able to really get out on the run and get themselves set.
I agree. Well, y'all, thank you so much for joining us on Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans. Again, if you like hockey, check me out. I'll be on Flow Hockey calling the Amerigo Latam Cup. And I'm going to run out and do that now, but not before we wave. We'll catch you on the next one. Thank you so much. No episode tomorrow. This was effectively our Monday episode. Excuse me. But we'll have a lot to talk about after New York beats Minnesota on Tuesday. Until then, peace out, everybody.